happy to see you here. You are representing UNICEF, and you have recently settled in Bangladesh after some years in Mozambique, and you have previously also worked in China, and your home is in India. So you are really
addressing such a large and learned group, because whatever I observed yesterday and I listened to yesterday, I must say that I was very, very impressed. Just to say that I just wanted to have a quick check on how many of you are really familiar with what's going on with CRC and unit hygiene that was linked with the child-friendly schools. How many of you have heard about child-friendly schools? Ooh, that's nice, that's nice. How many of you have been associated in any way with child-friendly schools?
I think education as a human right means that education is one of the rights that human should have. But rights-based education means education which is based where human rights are integrated and included within the education.
Excellent. I think where I should end my session. This crowd is too knowledgeable. The United Nations mandate at the World Summit on Children in the early 2000s, the World Summit for Children actually became the cornerstone, the milestone for all political and policy dialogue for children. Sorry about that spelling there. For all policy dialogue for children for the years to come, for at least until the end of the millennium. The World Summit for Children was a very important reference document. It sensitized political leaders, policy and decision makers. It strengthened negative cultural practice. Am I right? It became a powerful weapon. It sensitized, and it catalyzed the funds mobilization for education. Because the right of the child was such an appealing instrument across the world for global political leaders, that it was a huge push. It gave a huge push for mobilizing funds, and we saw that in the consistent inequity. And I'm using the word equity and not equality, and I'll explain to you very shortly why I'm using the word equity. Not just when they are rooted, the inequities are rooted in a complex range of factors from both the demand and the supply side. What do I mean by demand and supply side? Can somebody explain what demand? Mr.
Dilam. From Egyptian guy, he said that the demand side from the children. I want to have your reflection on demand side from the developing nation and the supply side from the developing country aspects. What do you say in terms of fund donation, in terms of
it's not only literate, but all children complete school. So there is an acceleration, the push, and therefore the need for that supply of those funds, supply to use the term. However, the con is that this has also caused a lot of dependency on the developed world, and what has been lost what has been lost and what we are still continuing to lose in the process is the autonomy and independence for self-governance. And I'm not talking of political self-governance here, I'm talking about self-governance for economic and social development. It's not that developing countries are not capable. I mean, most of us have had very, very ancient societies in our countries and they were governed. But it is that this whole aid, I mean, there's a lot of debate and discussion and literature on aid in development that has also had a very negative impact that do not integrate, that prevent the integration of change, and the supply side as the bottlenecks. They're not barriers. The schools in my country, at what level are they? Geographic disaggregation. Northern region standards are very low. Southern region standards are very high, for instance. So, extremely important to have a framework of quality standards which represents the 5 key dimensions. And of course, gender responsive, extremely important. That stipulates that all girls and boys have equal opportunities to access resources, participate with the focus on girls. And finally, this is the UNICEF framework for child-friendly education. It's the conceptual framework. Important pillar of the child-friendly education. And the other important pillar is communication. We talked about networking yesterday. Networking at the school level. Networking with local NGOs, local resources. Social mobilization of communities. Having dialogue between community and the school. Extremely important. How often we come across teachers who don't want to have anything to do with community. Head teachers they think that they know everything and community knows nothing. That's a myth. Community knows far more the resolution of problems than I as a head teacher will know in my school. Extremely important. So these two pillars are extremely important for the multi-sectoral approach to quality education, which is the underlying framework of child-friendly education for a rights-based approach to education in UNICEF. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anjana. Yeah, and thank you for your comments, your very rich content, and your nice way of inviting our participants for questions and comments.
So sometimes we may have resources in a country, and a country is really big. So what we have is one part of the country in another. And for example, oil might be an example, or other resources might be an example. So equity is about making sure that all citizens of the country get a fair share of what is available in the country.
Yes, normally if you fight each other, they have to stay separately, very far from each other. So now, they are now normal in schools.
Do they live very
far from town? Yes. So in the remote areas.
In forest?
Yeah, in the forest. They live in the forest. They normally sell goats out of maybe $20, maybe $1. Cheap. You can get it out of even $10. Yeah, they don't like just staying in the comfortable place. They have to go and stay in the remote area, in the bush, in the forest.
Are they wandering from one place to other, or staying in the same place?
They move around, or do they have a permanent?
Like gypsies or
no,
what do you say?
they are just nomadic travelers.
Nomads.
Today it's here, tomorrow they are there, just like that.
They are nomadic life.
Yeah.
Nomadic.
So the Bushmen,
Yeah.
you call them like
Nomads.
Tea estates, that's why. Plantation sector.
Sri Lanka.
Oh, they are working in tea estates and rubber estates. They are very economically.
Large scale farming areas, plantation.
Plantation sector.
Large scale farming.
In fact, China has donated to many countries because of strengthening the relationship
Against India.
the nations.
That's right.
Like Ethiopia also have very.
I think we also seem to have similar problems. For example, ethnic minorities are also underserved by education in my country. Their participation in education is very limited.
Your country, in China, we still favor boys to girls. And each family has one child,
Yes, one
and most families prefer to have a boy rather than a girl. So in case of a girl, they would rather let them stay home working until they get married.
Like this cost-benefit thing, like parents are working in plantations and older siblings are taking care of the younger ones. So their labor is required at home. These are the kind of things that we mention. So,
But I think in India we have noon meal programs in all the schools. And even in some schools we have started breakfast also. There are some...
because our cultures have certain norms and ingredients which, if not well understood, the entire thing boomerangs.
Discover a very interesting similarity between smart concept and clean concept.
From the schools following where they can have classes for the kettles. Now from UNICEF perspective and from your experience, how are you helping these people to get right to education?
Be able to even practice it. So really, I mean, this kind of an NGO would be very, very, it will be like, pioneering and then, all of you were SCRT, your government people and your association with the NGO will be extremely important.